actually had one or two ambulances got flipped in intersections in the last couple of years and that kind of stuff. So, and cars are so soundproof now. People, honestly, they really don't pick them up. We got little things that rumble the ground and all that too, but still.
Rumble the ground?
Yeah, they're actually vibrations. They call them howlers. They're pointed down towards the pavement because people can't hear the ambulances or fire trucks for that matter a lot of times until they're right behind you. So the idea is that you kind of pick up on the vibration more than the sound. So reprioritization is the other thing that kind of dovetails into that. Is call volumes increase for everybody, first responders and EMS, really prioritizing what those calls are and what first response needs to go on and what we need to go lights and sirens on and what can wait a little bit longer.
Will you go back and point out that Star Saver program? Kind of
I'm hitting the next. Oh, that was ahead of myself. Yeah, I apparently double clicked. So, but and then the last two slides here, we do have a Star Saver membership that we've offered for some time. It's $69. Covers the entire household, and basically the way it works is with a 911 call, we bill the insurance, we take whatever the insurance will pay, and we write off the balance of that. So it's a pretty good deal for folks. I have some pamphlet things here I will leave because you guys are great about putting them out in the lobby for folks. We do have 63 Riverix residents that are enrolled in this program, so it keeps you from getting that $2,000 ambulance bill. And in the last couple of years, we started a Star Saver Plus program. There is an assisted living facility that actually enrolled all of their residents in this. And so for $350 a year, essentially, if somebody just doesn't feel right, they don't really want to go to the hospital, or they don't know if they need to go, we'll send a critical care paramedic out to evaluate them, maybe do an EKG on them, talk to their primary care physician, and really work out a treatment plan in their home. That may involve going to the hospital after all, but at least have the peace of mind of knowing, hey, there actually is something wrong that I need to be in the hospital to see, or maybe it's just something as simple as a prescription refill. And I want to thank you all for your time. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them.
I'm going to present you with this that we read off.
All right. We appreciate you, sir.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming out.
Absolutely.
Okay. Move on to item number 9, which is consider approval of the 2020-2021 fiscal year audit report as presented by MWH Group, Certified Public Accountants. This is Valerie. Hey, Val.
Hello.
You don't look like William Spoor.
No, a little different. So I'm Valerie Halverson. I'm a shareholder in MWH Group. We're a CPA firm in Wichita Falls. And as a refresher, I attended one of your meetings via Zoom a while back, but as Bill Spoor is kind of making his transition and due to some changes in independence rules, the way that the audit was performed this year was a little different, and that is that Bill came in and did kind of the cleanup work and the preparation work, and then our firm came in and did the audit after him. So we worked very closely with Bill and the work that he did, as well as with Marvin and Paula, to get the audit completed this year. And overall, we really had a good audit. We enjoyed working with the team here and enjoyed working with Bill, and he does good work, and your team here does good work, and so we've appreciated the opportunity. And so what I normally do, this is my first time in front of you to present an audit, is I kind of go through and explain to you how these financials work. These statements are a little different than what you normally see. And I hit the highlights that I would want pointed out to me, but I welcome any questions at any time. So please feel free to stop or interrupt me, and I'll do my best to answer the questions that you might have. So I'm going to start with the bigger bound report, the annual financial report. Like I said, just kind of hit some of the highlights. So starting on page 1, which is about the 4th paper page of the document, that's our independent auditor's report on the financial statements. This is where we provide an opinion on the financial statements, and we have what we call an unmodified report. It says that we believe the financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects. That's as nice as we get as auditors, so that's the kind of opinion you want, and would expect to get, so that's good. Moving to the next big section is your manager's discussion and analysis, which starts on page 5. This section is intended to be kind of a discussion for someone who maybe isn't used to reading financial statements, so it provides a little more background about the financials and how they flow in the year itself. I like to spend a little time in this section because it's the piece in the report where there is comparative information, whereas the basic financials are only 1 year. So I'll point out to you on page 7, provides a comparison of your government-wide financial statements. So the city overall, these are the governmental activities, is going to be your general fund and your governmental type funds. Your business type is your water and sewer, and then your total is those last 2 columns. The city as a whole had $38 million in assets, and that's in capital assets, $28 million. That's up from $33 million in assets last year. Liabilities are $22 million versus $17 million, so liabilities went up. With your total net position, which is basically the calculation of the difference between the two, is $16 million at the end of this year versus $15.6 million.
And the difference is because of what?
Is on the next page.
Okay.
So page 8 shows kind of the activity for the year. So your revenues overall were $10 million versus $9.6 million last year. Expenses were $9.6 million versus $9.3 million. So the city as a whole increased net position of $458,000. So that's your revenues exceeded expenses by that $458,000. To break that out between your governmental activities and your business type, your governmental, which again is your general fund and other general governmental type funds, had a loss of about $103,000. Your utility funds, your water sewer, had an increase of about $562,000, which nets to that $458,000. And so these numbers are for a full accrual basis, so this includes your depreciation expense, it includes, reports payments on long-term debt and fixed asset purchases in the balance sheet, so it's a little different than your governmental funds, and I'll point that out too.
Come in, have a seat.
So past that in the MD&A just provides some additional detail. Page 9 shows your governmental funds and the different items that are restricted in your governmental funds. Your total restricted funds of $5.2 million, and that's up quite a bit because you have $3.6 million you had debt issued during the year, and so you have almost $3.7 million on hand to be used for future capital projects. There's a small portion, about $90,000 assigned, and your total fund balance for your governmental funds is $5.8 million. And then the next page shows your general fund budgetary highlights. So this is just kind of some of the things that are noteworthy. These are all of your general fund highlights. But overall, your revenues were $1 million higher than the original budgeted amount. Your expenditures were $1.5 million higher than the original budgeted amount. Almost all of that is in some really big capital purchases. So when we're looking at our general fund, fixed asset purchases are shown as an expense. And in here you have street repairs, an ambulance purchase, and some other large equipment. Quite a bit of that was purchased through the proceeds from debt issuances. So you issued some debt to buy that stuff, and other of it was purchased just through resources on hand. So those are really the main highlights that I like to point out in the MD&A. Past that goes into your basic financial statements. And again, I just like to kind of explain how these flow because they're a little bit different than typical financial statements. So page 13 shows your statement of net position, which is your assets, liabilities, and net position for the city as a whole. So it includes all of your funds. and this is on the full accrual basis of accounting. And this is the very detailed version of the very summarized version I went over